Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, universe. All right. Here we go. Look at that. We are on point this morning with the Facebook and everything. Okay. See how it's working. It is. Awesome. All right. Happy Friday. Today's the 26th. We've cruised through June. Coming up next weekend's July 4th weekend. Hopefully, most of you following all of the social distancing cues, all that nonsense, will be safe. And I don't know if anyone's doing fireworks. I know a lot of places I've seen have canceled for this year. So that's interesting. Good morning, Mother. So today, what are 3 habits that you could do in your life to either improve your daily life, become more efficient, or replace an old habit? And when I think about this, I think of it like think small. So obviously, like we could say on a larger level, on a macro level, one habit that I could do is if I want to improve my daily life, I could, work out every day. Okay. Good morning, Matt. That's great, but if you're going from 0 to 100, it's very unlikely that it's going to stick. So maybe in that example, maybe your daily habit, your new daily habit could be, I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk, a 10-minute walk, a 15-minute walk every day, regardless of the weather. They make raincoats, they make snowsuits, they make umbrellas. Only time that it would be unsafe would be as if it was like a hurricane or a tornado. So again, that's an example of like taking that large habit that you're trying to instill and breaking it down to something smaller. It could be go to bed 5 minutes earlier. If you're constantly tired and you constantly find that you're going to bed at 11, 12 o'clock at night, go to bed at 10:55. Set a reminder on your phone at 10:30 so that, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to bedtime. So that way, you do that for a week and then go to bed 5 minutes earlier. All of a sudden, you're up 10 minutes on when you were going to bed. Okay? Because again, if you're the type of person that goes to bed at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I got to get more sleep, I'm going to go to bed at 9. The likelihood of that happening is very small on a consistent basis. And again, in order to make a habit long term, you have to make it has to be something that you can consistently do. You want to consistently win at creating this new habit. If I'm trying to, exercise and I do really good for 3 days and then I take a month off. I do really good for 3 days and then I take a month off. I'm not really creating a new habit. I'm actually creating a habit of continually like starting and stopping. So something that you can do day in and day out every single day is going to help that, right? So becoming more efficient, taking more time when when you're responding to an email. Don't, if like my phone just vibrated. If I look at that and I'm like, oh, I got to answer this, and I just boom, 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 answer it. Maybe you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone and prevent like the person emailing back with a secondary question. If you just say like, all right, I'm going to spend, use your calendar. Like we talked about, Matt and Vale both use a calendar to like structure their day. Use a calendar time and say, I'm going to work on emails from 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's it. And that's the window that you use, because otherwise you're half committing to stuff. So, efficiency, take a section of time and really work on like integrating that into your daily routine. On that topic, like a small thing that you can do. This is more of like a gratitude. Last week we talked about pay it forward. Take your email contact list and you can even pre-write an email because you're going to send it every week to someone different or every day. Spend 1 minute emailing a random friend, telling them, hey Kevin, just thought I'd shoot you an email, check in, haven't heard from you in a while, hope you're doing well, hope the family is staying safe during these troubling times. Okay, cool. That is pretty much meaningless. You might not have talked to Kevin since you guys were in high school together, but he might open that and be like, God, you know what? Today was a shitty day. What does this clown want? Oh, email back. Hey man, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, the family is doing well given everything that's going on, blah, blah, blah. You may gain a new client from that. You may rekindle an old friendship. At the end of the day, you're just going to walk away feeling a little bit better, knowing that you passed on that positivity to somebody else. Third thing you can do is install your roadblock to help break that habit you're trying, to help prevent you from those old habits you're trying to break. So what could that be? Smoking, TV, snacks, junk food. So what are some roadblocks you can use? Say that you're a pack a day smoker. I don't know how many cigarettes are in a pack. Let's pretend that there's 10 and just say, okay, I'm only going to have 9 cigarettes today. So how do I make that happen? I'm not going to have a cigarette until, if normally you have one at 7 o'clock in the morning and then your next one's at 9, be like, I'm not going to have that one at 7 a.m. My first cigarette I'm going to have at 9. If you're trying to prevent yourself, if you're trying to cut back on TV, what are you trying to replace it with? Like if you're trying to replace TV with something, let's say that with movement, say, okay, before I can watch TV tonight, I have to do my 5 minutes of exercise or whatever that modality is that you're putting in there. Once you do it, you've checked your box, then there we go. And then, same thing with snacks and junk food is, okay, well, if they're not in the house, that's an easy roadblock. If you have kids and they are in the house, then it's like, all right, well, I have to make sure that I've done, whatever before I can have that, that snack or that junk food, before I have ice cream. It's like, all right, well, I have to go and I have to make sure that I stack wood for 35 minutes before I'm allowed to have that ice cream. Because what that's doing is that's putting it in that frame of mind of like, this is more important than that. And that's not really going to help me get to wherever my desired outcome is. So, but again, I want you to think about these on like a small level, because then we take that small level. It's like what I talked about before about improving on that 1%. If we improve 1% per day, we're going to over time get better. But if we try to improve 10% in one day and then nothing for 2 weeks and then 10% again, we're not going to, the consistency is not there. So think about these things on a small level. It could even be that, maybe you and your significant other, your spouse, get up at the same time in the morning, let's say 6 a.m. Maybe you go to bed 5 minutes earlier so you can get up 5 minutes earlier, and that gives you 5 minutes of just like of you time, because maybe you wake up and then it's, you and your wife and then, or significant other, and then it's the kids, and then it's the job, and then it's the internet, all those things. I mean, I think an easy habit to instill is put one of those timers on like your apps or whatever that tells you how long you've been on, and say that, I'm only allowed to go on Facebook for 20 minutes a day or whatever whatever. If you look and you spend 2 hours a day on Facebook, make it 1 hour and 40 minutes. I'm only allowed to spend 1 hour and 40 minutes on Facebook this week, knowing that you're eventually trying to dial that down to say 20 minutes a day, and all of a sudden when you do that, that's not a huge change going from 2 hours a day on Facebook to 1 hour and 40 minutes. And what you've done is you've just gained 20 minutes of time. Now, that doesn't mean that you go spend an extra 20 on Facebook, on Instagram. So, But that's it for today. You know, that's one I would love to see all of you work on, is getting off the social media. Because again, you can free up 20 minutes just like that, and you're not doing anything while you're doing it except getting very parasympathetic, very balled up, very angered. You know, and it's not constructive. So you could use that 20 minutes to go for your walk, and listen to something educational on your walk, or just listen to nature. There's an idea. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. You know, it appears that, you know, and everywhere out, maybe even in New York too, cases are coming back up. And again, that's because people aren't practicing the social distancing. They're not practicing all of these things that we've been trying to do. So all of a sudden we have cases of coronavirus again. Shocking. Who would have thought? So do continue to practice the social distancing so that we can try to nip this thing in the bud once and for all. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.